brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement Studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking hosts, the good old boys. Suds. It's time for more Suds.
Oh, definitely. It is time for another Suds segment here on Sips, Suds, and Smokes. Welcome, everyone. And this is where good beer meets bad radio. I am one of your hosts here at the table, good old boy Mike. Joining me on the table, at the table, in the table,
on the table,
is good old boy Dave.
Oh, no more Yankee, my wanky.
See?
The donga need food.
Yeah. It's hard to keep him off the table.
I'm deciding, could that really be the most entertaining moment that we're going to have for this episode?
Yes, it's downhill from there.
Oh, so we're setting the bar really low.
That's kind of our thing, isn't
It's
it?
different in what way?
Right. That's correct.
Once you have the template for success, don't mess with it.
After all, I'm here, so that's sort of.
Also joining us is good old boy Kendall.
I'm just here for the pastry.
How rude.
That's for sure. And also good old boy Caperton.
And I'm here to be respectful.
Oh, man.
Today,
that is so lame.
We're doing respectful today.
Can we please have the hip waiters at table 11? Come, just bring them on over here.
Security, can you?
Escort this
The
individual.
irony is not lost on you guys, obviously.
Well, this stunning Suds episode is going to be brought to you by
Suds and studs, stuff and things. Do you like stuff? Do you need things? Well, come on down to Stuff and Things. We have more stuff than anyone, and our things are very competitively priced. Stuff and Things, Things and Stuff, Stuff and Things and Stuff and Things, now with more stuff.
Well, on today's episode, we're going to be discussing the Funky Butta Brewery in Oakland Park, Florida.
Wait a minute. We're talking about Funky Butta, the brewery.
Yes, Dave. This is a beer show. We talk about beers. What Funky Butta did, you think we were talking about?
Well,
It's the music, so we walk around town. Forget about the music when you go downtown. No room for your boom if you be around town. The night bridge the beast if you count downtown.
obviously, I thought we were doing a dedication show to Funky Butta, the Asian American rapper who was a member of Notorious MSG until he was gunned down in a drive-by in Chinatown in 2005.
Damn it.
This is why we don't come to the production meetings, and these kind of things happen, and it just,
I've never seen Mike this speechless. Dave, what have you done to him?
Apparently not enough.
They said it was not possible, but obviously we've witnessed it. How about I go ahead and read off the beer list
Please.
for today?
Yes.
All right. The Funky Butta beers we will be tasting and discussing are.
Hang on a second. I need to get my pastry back.
That's right. That's right. Get a napkin, folks. So first up, we've got Buttercup Double Brown Ale with peanuts, vanilla, and cocoa nibs. Secondly, Maple Bacon Coffee Porter. I guess the name says it all there. The Last Snow Coconut, coconut and Coffee Porter. The Strawberry Shortcake Wheat Wine, which was the only
Beer you could see through.
yeah, the only beer you could actually see through from this flight, with strawberries and vanilla. The Nikolai Vorlauf Russian Imperial Stout, and last but not least, or perhaps, I'm so excited, I'm so scared, Imperial Coffee Stout.
So we've established that Funky Butta is violating all of the conceptions about beer names, which is if you're using more than 8 syllables or 3 words,
Yep.
it's too long.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely.
So, and you use some really big words that Caperton could not pronunciate. So
Correct.
Those words don't have to be that big, though.
Connect.
yeah. All right. So I'm going to read our Suds ratings for today. We are going to be discussing and rating these beers with the Sud ratings plus our signature belching sounds. And here are those ratings now in my favorite Miami mother accent.
Oh, boy.
Which is around the corner from Oakland Park, by the way.
Oh, boy.
George, that sucks. Give me anything but a bud. Oh, my God. Please turn down the thermostat. It is so cold in here. It's almost 74. Number 2. Was that a belch or was that your cousin making that noise again? Number 3. I say this every time your aunt comes over. Ah, what a relief. Oh, my God. She never leaves. Number 4. I think that this should be a T-shirt every time you go down to the Grove and see something like this. A body should really not make that sound. And I say this with lots of love for all my other Floridians around here in Miami Beach. Listen to that hang time. Give me another.
You're a snowbird, right?
Yeah, I am.
That's
So
the snowbird accent.
you guys know I go back and forth to Florida, and I definitely I'm not in the Miami area. I'm on the other side of the coast, so I'm in the I'm on the Gulf side. So it's a different link shuffleboard stick.
Yeah.
You know, so so the running joke you always you know how you can tell the seasons in Florida? It's whether you're seeing blue hair and hands or just blue hair. So that's the difference. Yep. And you're not seeing my hand gesture, but it's really a little old lady with her hands on the steering wheel because that's about all you can see, you know, in
Banned
Florida.
once again.
No, I can't be banned from there. That would be bad. So
I don't think they're going to have you back.
I know this. Yeah. So, I have a story why I know this accent and, you know, this genre really well. So, I went to freshman college in Florida, and my roommate was actually from Miami. In fact, he and his family lived on Star Island, and he was Jewish. And his mom was this is how she sounded.
Yeah.
It was this is a dead ringer for his mother. And so it just, you know, I got exposed, you know, to the family culture that they had there. And it's just this very interesting community, you know, through there. Because I think at that time it was a very polarized community. I mean, you had a lot of people from Jersey, and the tri-state area that had moved into the Miami area. And you had this very heavy immigration, you know, population coming in from a large number of Latin American countries as well. And there was like nothing in between. It was just like one or two of those, you know, groups. And like saying a native, you know, a person from Miami is just like a misnomer. I don't even know what that person would sound like, you know.
It's almost like Nashville.
Yeah, right. So, you know, I just, my roommate's mother, she just, it always took her like 14 sentences to say something that you and I would say it in like 3 words. You know, it would just, I mean, you'd ask her something simple like, you know, do you have any mayonnaise? You know, this one time, and you know, his brother, he asked me for mayo, and I went, and then I had to call somebody, and then, you know what, the phone rang, and then I was just all flummoxed about that, and it keep on going on, and I just, you know, have you ever had a sandwich with really good mayo? I mean, you know, sometimes when you have a sandwich with mayo, the wrong kind of mayo, I mean, there's not, every kind of mayo is not the same thing.
Oh, I'm looking for my keys, man.
You know, so his brother, when he asked me for the sandwich with this mayo, I talked to him. I said, you can't have that kind of mayo on that sandwich because it doesn't belong there. So, you know, I just
should have followed it up with I don't like mayo.
So, I'm sorry. You asking for mayo? That's right. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah. So that was just a very difficult conversation, with my roommate's mother. It was like, wow, okay, seriously, it just went on and on like that all the time.
I'm not really hungry now. So
So.
Good old Florida.
Yeah. So anyway, if you're in the area and you get to introduce yourself to someone that steps into this, this genre, you'll go, good old boy Mike told me about this.
He warned me.
Yeah, he did. Well, we have some rather innovative beers.
Yeah.
To go through today from Funky Butta. So,
can you taste your run?
So, the one thing about we didn't cover in some of the background is in between when these beers were brewed and when we're actually covering them here on the show, they were acquired by Constellation Brands, which is really a huge conglomeration of a lot of brands. Constellation was on a tear of buying just tons of vineyards. I mean, they just consumed the entire wine world. I mean, they're really one of the top 3 players, in wines. And they took a similar approach when craft beer was coming around as well. And, probably one of the biggest deals that they did in purchasing a brewery was the deal with Ballast Point.
Yep. Yeah.
$1 billion for a brewery. Yeah.
Did they get the distillery too, though?
That's hard to figure out.
I don't think so, because I don't think that they were actually distilling on their own equipment at that time.
Oh, okay. Man.
But they've gone through some other large acquisitions, and this is one of many. So
Funky Butta joined the family.
Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit more about these beers we're going to go through in a bit after you go and get a knife and a fork.
And some mayo.
And figure out exactly what you're going to have on your pancakes.
And get a cup of coffee while you're at it.
Yeah, you're going to need it for this show. We'll discuss these right after this break.
Something to check your glucose.
Rolling clouds and crashing surf, iridescent dunes reflecting by the light of a rising, glowing moon. Seashore mesmerizing, night breeze hypnotizing. We've come across these back roads none too soon. Look to the left, to the right. Keep your eyes on the road, my darling. Wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows. My hand is yours forever, sweet love.
Hey, welcome back to this Suds episode on Sips, Suds, and Smokes. I am one of your hosts here, good old boy Mike, and we're going through beers in a brewery takeover from Funky Butta. And
we're the second people to take over Funky Butta.
So we're going to...
Which we were just discussing.
Yeah, so I'm glad you went and got a knife and a fork, because you're going to need it to go through a lot of these beers with us today. We are going to do our best to go through these. We're going to start off with Maple Bacon Coffee Porter. So here is a quick description, and these descriptions are a lot longer than some of the ones, so I'm going to read these rather exceedingly quick. The beer that started it all, evoking a complete diner-style breakfast in a glass, Maple Bacon Coffee Porter is a complex beer with multitudes of flavors at play. It pours on an opaque ebony brew with frothy tan head, aromas of sticky maple syrup, coffee, and cream creep forth from the grass. Okay.
Creepy cream.
I never learned to read.
Correct. That's, I'm overeducated and overpaid. the mouthfeel is luxuriously creamy with layers of sweet malt toffee and roast giving way to waves of smoked coffee and salted chocolate. It finishes sticky, rich, and sweet with a flavor of maple syrup lingering pleasantly on the tongue. On the tongue.
I got maple syrup all over my tongue once.
Yep.
It took me a week to get it off.
Gotta go to the doctor for that.
Yeah. So a lot of accolades for this beer, and they violated our beer description by a whopping 4 hours. So yeah, just down one sentence there, folks.
It's a beer.
Yeah. What'd you guys think about this beer?
Well, it's sticky. I mean, they got
I think
that
they
one, right?
I think they got a lot of that right.
Sticky and maple. I don't get any bacon.
Yeah,
I don't get any bacon.
Just a
either.
hint of smoke. Is that supposed to be the
maybe.
bacon?
I guess.
Yes, yeah.
I guess.
The first thing I wrote down was, if IHOP actually made a beer, this
Yeah.
would be it.
Yeah.
This would be signature IHOP beer. The only thing that was missing is it needs to be in the same decanter as all the syrups that you would have at IHOP. That's it.
I know some folks that really like this beer, man. I mean, and I don't know.
It reminded me of the maple candy I used to get up in like New England. It's like maple sugar candy in a shape of a leaf, and it's just so sugary, sticky sweet.
Yeah.
Lots of flavor, good bitterness. Really tons of coffee.
And it definitely evokes morning breakfast, whatever it is they're trying to evoke there.
You need to have a short stack with this.
Yeah.
What's the ABV on this one? Do anybody know?
It is 6.4%.
That's not that bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah, 35 IBUs. So,
I could drink this for breakfast. I
didn't get any of the bacon though thing. It was just sweet and sticky, all the way. Aaron, I'm actually going to take another sip. This will be interesting.
Yep. So I'm going to jump in here and say that one of my first jobs as a young lad was washing the dishes at a local restaurant that's sort of regional here in the Southeast called Shoney's. And morning was the worst, like breakfast, because the dishes came to you in a bus pan, right?
They were sticky.
And they smelled like this beer, man. It was like syrup and coffee and pancake stuff all kind of mixed up together. It's kind of taking me back to that first really bad job a little bit. So I'm trying to fight the urge to clock out and go home.
Throw your dish towel.
Throw my apron,
Throw your apron at Mike and be like, I'm out of here, dude.
Yeah.
Take this job and shove it. There's quite a few maple, coffee porters out there. I mean, it's not like super popular, but I mean, there's several that we've had that try to put this flavor profile together.
I think it's the bacon thing that's missing here because the salt component you would have from the nitrate and regular bacon. That's the one thing I definitely get the maple sugar. Yeah, and the coffee is there, and you have all this cocoa nibs, but
not enough savory.
That salt component
would be good, like a little bit of saltiness, because that would just enhance the other flavors too.
Yeah, probably. So.
And then maybe some more smoke.
Huh? Would you pour with your left hand or your right hand, or would you just hold the entire 5-pound bucket of goo to pour on your pancakes?
I dip it.
Dip it. Okay.
Dip
all right.
it,
yeah, this is definitely dipping beer. That's for sure. Well, we didn't get a chance to talk about our rating for this, so we're going to actually figure this out.
We didn't.
On the fly.
We usually confer here. Yeah.
All right. So our Sip Suds and Smokes rating for Maple Bacon Coffee Porter is going to be a 3. All right. Next up in the land of pastries is going to be the Last Snow Porter. This is a porter with coconut and coffee. The Last Snow Coconut and Coffee Porter is an ode to a special time in Florida. Oh, yes, Martha, where the needle just dips south, just south of 75. Oh, my God, it's so chilly in here. It's almost 72 degrees. Turn up the heat, even with the briefest of moments. This rich, creamy porter is layered with coconut and freshly roasted coffee for a taste that recalls a winter wonderland, even if our state... That's just a state of mind. Very true. So, I can definitely attest that my mom refuses to actually travel north of Tampa. It's really cold in Ocala. I'm like, Mom, that's just like 45 minutes away. It's just like, it's cold.
It's really cold.
So, yeah. I have this running joke with her that, when we're going to move her into some assisted living home, which she hates that word at some point in time. I'm just going to tattoo on her wrist that she's cold. And, because instead of people, she's going to just point to the tattoo on her wrist. My mom is from Cleveland, 20-foot high snow drifts. Okay. That she grew up with. And, but even now she's like, it's almost 73. I mean,
need a shawl.
Yeah. We have to turn the heat on. I'm like, wow. So, yeah.
Well, her barometer has shifted.
That's for sure. Yeah. What'd you guys think about Last Snow Porter here from Funky Butta?
Probably the best one of the flight, in my opinion.
Agree.
I think I agree too.
Yeah, we've talked about this one before. This is a good beer. I am not a fan of coconut in 99% of all circumstances, but in a beer like this is like the one place where I would say I can enjoy the flavor of coconut.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
And this is just a ton of coconut. Actually, I just wrote down that when I first took a sniff of it, just coconut out the wazoo. I mean, it just loads and loads of coconut. Kind of reminds me of a Mounds bar. I'm like Dave, not a huge coconut fan, but this one's executed pretty well. It's balanced. Even though it's huge in the aroma and the flavor, it's very balanced with, I get a little coffee, a little chocolate. It's great.
Yeah, I think you guys are right. I've had this beer probably more than any other Funky Butta beer, and I usually am looking forward to it when I see the bottle, come out.
Yeah,
and it's I agree. It's a ton of coconut. I mean, I wrote coconut like 4 times here. It's possibly, I don't know. I'd like to run back through the flight but maybe the least sweet of the bunch.
Yeah, it's a good balance on the flavor.
It seems to be a little more balanced than
maybe the Nikolai Vorlauf is maybe the least sweet, but I agree that this one is not a sweet.
Yeah,
sticky
it's
bomb.
not as sticky as the maple bacon.
The coconut is the star of the show
for sure.
This one. When Kendall was sitting next to me when we were tasting this, and I was like, so sometimes it sounds like a nut, sometimes it doesn't. Because
it does.
This is just a Mounds bar and a glass. It totally is. I mean, it just completely tastes just like that candy bar.
Not sure they added cocoa nibs to this. I'm not sure that I think if they had, I think it would have upset the balance going on here for sure.
I seem to remember talking to the brewer a couple years ago when we first tried this beer, and I think they toast the coconut.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that sort of enhances the flavor even further,
There's a local brewery here in town that does the same thing. I think they've got that down. I think, toasting the coconut for sure.
Well, one of the big topics we had around all this flight of beers is these are just so flavor laden. Okay, so how did you get all that adjunct flavor in this? Are you using, whole ingredients, or using extracts? And I think we were drawing the very quick conclusion that to get this flavor profile, you got to go extract.
Some of these, I think you would absolutely have to.
I hate to say it, but it's probably
some of them. It doesn't come across as the natural fruit flavor.
I'm not sure that's necessarily a negative thing for a brewer to do, right? I'm trying. Okay, I want to say yes, right? But I'm trying not to. Again, what did I say? I was going to be
40 wet
very
lashes
respectful.
with a wet noodle.
Very respectful.
Here's the thing, though.
You shall not use extracts.
If you're making, however many hundreds of barrels of this beer that you're pushing out, just the sheer volume of fruit and like how much liquid you would lose and displacement and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it becomes unwieldy and unprofitable.
Well, and I think you just don't have to do all that really as a home brewer, but as a professional brewer, you got to consider how many coconuts do we need?
If you're making like
a lot,
some cherry sour ale that's going to be aged in a barrel and macerated cherries or whatever, then you want to go whole fruit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Something like this where it's a component and it almost maybe they even
the
are
flavor
going
is
for,
the beer.
Yeah, maybe you really just want to push.
This isn't
over
a
the
porter
top.
with coconut. This is coconut porter.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the interesting distinctions with this beer was actually named in our Best of Sip show for 2016. I guess the question because Dave and I tasted this, I think this may be we were tasting it in the same time. Because when we had it, that first summer, it was mind blowing. And I want to say we had the first taste of this at GABF.
It was at the Rare Beer Festival.
That was it.
The Rare Beer.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah.
And I mean, I really remember, that having such a distinctive, impression on us then. And that was the reason why it wound up being in the Best of, show for that year. Do you think this is right up to the same distinction and same flavor profile? Has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? Or is it exactly the same? Or
I would say it's definitely not better. But it's hard to tell. And like the first time you have something, it's usually like, wow, if it's really good. So, I think it's about as good now, not better, but I don't think it's fallen off much.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it is, we've had a lot of other things between now and then as well.
Yeah.
And so, I think the novelty of this, has maybe worn off just a bit.
Yeah, and the setting you guys were drinking it in the first time adds a lot to it as well. You're at a really cool event and you're keyed up, your taste buds are all fired up.
Good old gal Juliana was there and she was going crazy over it.
She really was.
Yeah. It's a good beer, man.
Well, our Suds rating for the Last Snow Porter from Funky Butta is going to be a 4. All right, next up on the pastry pie wagon train is going to be the Butta Cup. This is a double brown ale, and here is the description from them. Anybody want a peanut? This hunkin' a burnin' chocolate. I actually read that correct. Love sure does. Butta Cup takes 2 star-crossed flavors, sweet chocolate and salty peanuts, and joins them with a delectable double brown ale for a moment of pure destiny. Just one sip is sure to get your heart and mouth racing. I might be racing in a different direction. The ABV on this is 8.8%. What did you guys think of Butta Cup from Funky Butta?
When you first take a bite of a Reese's cup, you get that smell of the peanut butter. That's what I smelled in this beer. It had a very similar flavor to a Reese's cup where the peanut butter's open and exposed.
Well, Yes, it had the aroma of the peanuts, but the salty component is not there. Is it?
I don't get any peanut flavor.
I don't get a much at all.
And then when I drank it, so I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to get a lot of peanut out of this. And when I drank it, it was just like a chocolate porter.
I'm getting a ton of chocolate.
I didn't get a lot of peanuts out of it. It somehow came out in the aroma, but not the flavor.
I don't think this one's overly sweet though.
No,
it tastes chocolatey and it smells kind of chocolatey.
I'm a little more forgiving of it now than I was when I tasted it first.
It's got a bit of a cola quality to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
in the aroma, especially for me, like that caramel smell from a cola.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did the brown ale show rather recently, and so this was not at the table. Do you think this? I mean, looking in light of some of those other, browns, there was just that one that was like a dark roast, I think, from Braxton that we have.
The
in that
blueberry pie beer, blueberry pie brown from Braxton, was like the only
cream.
kind of adjuncty kind of thing.
This tastes like a really good base beer. If I would love to have this brown with no adjuncts in it at all.
That might, Mike. I
bet that would be good.
I'm going to agree with you there.
That this brown was really good all by itself with none of these adjuncts in it at all.
I would buy
They
that.
got all Florida on it.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, it's the same mad scientist, thing that they were going down going, welcome to the pastry shop, and let's figure out how to flavor this up.
They probably tried the base beer and they're like, man, we should just leave this. Well,
Yeah,
it's
but our
kind of our
marketing
thing.
person,
Yeah.
But I'm wondering where the chocolate in this is coming from. Like, how much of it did they add some kind of chocolate, or how much of it was a chocolate malt? And even as a base border, do you still get that chocolate if they're using a lot of the chocolate malt?
Well,
Bet you would.
definitely I thought the cocoa nibs off this was a little bit different, and again, that the kind of cola quality was the thing that kept on coming through. Some other things I wrote down is I actually thought there was more beer than flavor here.
Yeah.
So this wasn't something where some of the other ones we've had so far, it's like, da-da-da, it's a donut. And, oh yeah, there's some beer here, by the way. This one, you can taste the base beer, and I like that. It seems to be a lot more in check.
This one, the more that it warms up and the more that we've talked about it, it really smells like cola. Like, I mean, really,
My
really,
first
for real.
sip of it tasted
Don't let
a
me
lot
talk you
like,
into it. But
No. I mean, I already
Yeah.
felt that, but it
I
wasn't
did-
as
yeah.
pronounced. But now, I'm
it
like,
tasted
damn,
like
dude.
off-brand cola.
RC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I say that respectfully.
With all due respect.
No, nobody's had RC cola outside of,
This
the
is
South,
probably
so,
true.
yeah.
I'm not even
There are
sure people in the
there
South
are
are
people in
having it
Utah
anymore.
going, well, I don't know what that is.
That's probably somebody making an RC Cola moon pie stout right now.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, this would be a good way to start. You just need one more extract, and boom, there you are.
I think we just found our thing.
Somebody's going to add somebody's going to add
I think we found our
lactose to
thing.
this and really screw it up. And there you go. So
Yeah, there was a lot of potential to screw this one up, I think. And I think
is that a goal?
they managed
They did
to,
pretty
they
well.
may have snatched a victory from the jaws of defeat.
There you go.
Well,
Respectfully.
so what'd you guys think about this? All right, our consensus is our Suds rating for the Butta Cup from Funky Butta is going to be a 3.
Yeah.
Butta. It's like butter.
Butta. That's with an A. Butta.
Maybe they should wrap it in the Reese's, wrapper. They should have that as a packaging option, shouldn't they, Kendall?
So
They could. It's little. Yeah, it doesn't even look like a Reese's.
Have like
Cup
a
wrapper.
co-marketing thing.
So
might not-
the
this might
orange
not
and
be the-
brown and
this might not be the best place to ask, but is it Reese's or Reese's?
Reese's.
Yeah.
I think it depends on whether you're in Iowa or whether you're in Virginia.
Because I have friends that say both, and
Reese cups.
not that we discuss it that often, but if the word comes up and someone says Reese's,
We're going to let
I've
you
never,
debate this
Yeah, I've never had
during
anyone.
the break.
Is it
Be right
Reese's
back.
monkey or?
Not
Yeah.
just the destination, but baby, the whole elation riding down this lover's avenue. As slow as the willow blows, or as fast as the whirlwind grows, we glide beneath the stars in cobalt blue. Look to the left, to the right. Keep your eyes on the road, my darling. Wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows. My hand is yours forever, sweet love. Our eyes ahead on these back roads with a view.
Welcome back to this Suds episode. This is Sip Suds and Smokes, and we are going over a flight of beers in a brewery takeover edition from Funky Butta out of Florida.
They're funky.
Yep. Also, not the rap singer, right, Dave?
Right.
You know what? I'll play that clip.
No,
The notorious MSG.
the MSG,
Right, dude.
the notorious MSG.
That's pretty good.
I think he actually probably keeled over from drinking too many of these beers all at once. Pretty much like
It
just
would
what
do
we
it.
did today.
This would get you the diabetes.
This will. You better test your glucose after you drink these beers.
Well, the next beer up is called I'm So Excited, I'm So Scared I don't know who has more. We have more creative episode names, or they have more creative beer names. I think
tough.
it's the same. I think it's shades of the same marketing meeting, or the lack of brain cells thereof. So this is an American Double Imperial Stout, and here is a quick description of this beer. Hey there, Tiger. Lose control, or like it, with a little, I'm so excited, I'm so scared. This ferociously coffeed Imperial Stout is just like grabbing a booth at the Max, then hunkering down for a steady sish with a pot of Joe.
What?
A big pot of Joe. Yes, I am actually reading this. Maybe if I use a Miami mother, coffee aroma so good. If you have it yelling, fresh pots, rock and roll. You ain't seen nothing yet. No, see, it didn't work either way, did it? Yeah. So yeah, this is
Study sesh. Okay, that was what was.
Well, did I read it better than you said it? No. So
I don't
good.
think so.
The ABV on this is 10%. It could be 40%, and it's not going to change what we're going to say about this. I can tell you that.
Oy.
Yeah. So, yeah, well, this will be interesting. A lot of innovative things to say about this one. Who wants to talk about this first?
I got a really weird sensation when I first smelled the beer.
Were you excited or scared?
I was scared because I knew it was a coffee beer, but I got like roasted peppers. It was a roasted, but it was like almost like a roasted green vegetal type aroma that kind of faded out. And when I came back to it, I started getting coffee. But it's like when you have a pot of Folgers that sits all day and it just gets really stale. That's what it smelled like to me.
Yeah, so Kendall and I, again, we were comparing a couple of notes after this, and I was like, okay, this is totally office coffee. Somebody has left a pot on that burner for 3 freaking days, you know, and poured just a little bit of water in there, and that aroma, that's exactly what this thing smells like. And I'm like...
See, it smells different to me. It smells like old fudge or something. Like there's some kind of weird...
No.
I don't know what it is, man.
It's burnt office pot coffee.
I wrote a strange aftertaste that I can't identify. Possibly burnt coffee.
So we were going through, and I was like...
So I agree with all you guys.
What are all the brands of really crappy office coffee? And just like all these names were flowing out, you know, like a river. And I'm like, I've never even heard of these. I mean, I'm a guy that roasts, you know, my own coffee beans. And I'm like, this is really, really nasty. You know,
this is some granddad coffee. For sure.
I won't say the brand that it reminded me of, but I would say if you were looking for a Regal mug, you'll be really close to the brand that I was thinking of. So
some pet owners like to have a loyal pup.
Yeah, there you go. So, the coffee on this was just so overwhelming. Was there beer in this?
Yeah, there was like I
I
said,
don't know what they did to
I
this
got a
thing.
really strange aftertaste that I can't.
It was
that lingered. That I
very
couldn't
astringent.
quite-
Like,
And I don't understand why it had to be this sweet as well. I mean, I really thought
that's the worst
all
part
the
about it.
sugar was really distracting. And I'm like, you know, I can deal with really crappy coffee, but really, you know, a lot of sugar. So literally, this is that coffee.
You know what it is?
With really bad water, and somebody has put like 4 pounds of sugar in that.
So it's like when you go and you really, really need a cup of coffee, So it's bad, right? So you get some coffee, but it's bad. So you just dump so much sugar into it.
That's this
just
beer.
to try to
That's
mask
this
that
beer.
flavor. But all you end up is like cloyingly sweet, and then you get the bitter aftertaste.
Over roasted, over sweet.
Yeah.
That should have been the name of this beer. Yeah, that should have been the name of this beer.
Too
yeah.
sweet, too bitter.
Yeah, yeah, all the way around. Well, our Suds rating for I'm so excited, I'm so scared, or as the other name should have been, what was it?
Over roasted, over sweet.
Our Suds rating for either one of those would have been a 2.
That little fella.
Yeah, I know.
Poor guy.
Are we done with that?
He was
Please?
trying.
Mommy, please
trying.
don't make me drink any more of that. All right. Next up is going to be the Nikolai Vorlauf. It's a Russian Imperial Stout. Finally, we arrive at something that we all should know and love. Here's their description. We brewed this Imperial Stout to be bold, big, bold, strong, like big Russian men. like a bear hugging a Russian wrestler. Why would a bear hug a Russian wrestler?
Because maybe he felt sad for him.
Is it a friendly hug or an awkward hug?
Do they shake hands first? Do they bow? How's this thing go? Is it like sumo wrestlers or, a thick body, but using oats and lactose is complemented by plenty of complex chocolate, cocoa, caramel overtones. We can actually see Florida from Cuba. Before finishing on a balanced roasty note, how many of us think any of these things are very true of this Russian Imperial Stout?
Well, it does have lactose.
Yeah, right, true.
Which, actually, a Russian Imperial Stout should not really have lactose.
I don't get that. I'm not sure what they're trying for.
I want my big Imperial Stouts to finish with a really nice bitterness.
Big,
and a dryness.
roasty flavors.
Roasty.
And
I know.
And any residual sugar should just come from, the
Whatever
the yeast
could
giving
not
up.
finish,
And
yeah.
Well, so, as soon as I saw, Russian Imperial Stout, my brain just immediately flies towards, old Rasputin. And I'm thinking of Cigar City, Marshall.
Zukov.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking right down that taste profile. And I'm like,
Amazing
finally,
beers,
we're arriving at something I know what it should be.
Yep.
And this is not.
They threw you a knuckleball.
Yeah.
So
Screwball.
something was off with this, and it was just I was picking out way too many individual components.
It couldn't figure
in
out
this.
what it was trying to be.
I agree. It had an identity crisis tripped up by geography.
Yeah.
Do you want to be Russian in Cuba or do you want to be a Russian in Russia? It's just like you want to wear shorts and I didn't get it.
Yeah, the oats and lactose make it something completely different. It's almost just like a double milk stout. You don't get that classic big flavor you want from a Russian
Stout.
But then you still got some of the roastiness that you would get from the Russian Stout.
So you're saying that the grain choice here was really what tripped all of us up here because they didn't use barley.
Because it changes the mouthfeel. You've got all that residual sugar.
They should have
it makes
just
it
used
sweeter.
roasted barley and just been done
And
with it.
so it really throws you for a loop. You're not
Kendall
used
may
to
have
that.
it there for sure. Yeah.
So a couple other things I wrote down, just really watery and thin, I just, again, I'm looking back at these comparative, other commercial examples and thinking, wow, man, did somebody just like dilute this thing down like 30% or something? I don't know what's going on. So
I've got thin, over roasted.
I wrote cocoa nibs galore.
Yeah, it's just somehow it was undercarbed. I don't know if it was just our bottle.
Well, you can always attribute that to maybe it's just that one bottle, something like that.
But that didn't help with
That
didn't
not
help
do
with the
it any
thinness at all.
service.
You could have carved this spot on. It
We
wouldn't
might have gotten a clunker here, but I don't know, man.
That lactose, man, that to me, I don't mind lactose in a beer, generally speaking.
I'm not sure carbonation would have helped.
If it's supposed to be there, like lactose can really, sweeten a beer in the right place. But if you're trying for a Russian Imperial Stout, you don't need to be doing that.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing I was leery of was the order we tasted all these in. And I'm thinking, okay, all right. So I've had all the pastry shop, stuff, and I'm kind of cruising along, and all of a sudden I come across this really one-dimensional beer. Shouldn't be sweet, shouldn't be, there's no fuss, there's no muss about it.
Yeah.
You've had this beer, 1,000 times. You should know exactly what it's like. And I'm like, whoa. So I wonder if the order, how we had this in the flight, influenced any of that, or it would have tasted this poorly if it had been first or last or anywhere else in the flight.
Yeah, I don't think that.
I don't think it changed much, even as it warmed up. It was kind of
even now.
kind of
It's
the
still
same.
watery, even as I retasted it
I
again.
think the best thing may be the label, which has a
Wait, that's not what you want to hear as a brewer.
As
the
a
best
bear.
thing is the label.
has a bear with a little censored block over his groin area.
Is he hugging the Russian?
What I would call a bear's groin area. No, but he looks like he's coming in for a big hug. Yeah.
Well, that's why they had to
With
cover
his
his groin
with his
area.
with his Johnson or whatever.
Okay. All right.
Well, that,
Yeah.
that just
Sorry.
that really got weird really quick.
Yeah.
So if you were giving this beer as a gift, what kind of individual would you choose to give this to? A cousin you don't like, a bad spouse, a a teacher you don't like, who would it be?
This is definitely a postman beer.
Postman beer.
Why do you want to get your mail thrown away for the rest of the year?
Here, dude.
That dude
Here's
gave
for-
me this crappy Russian
This
Imperial
is for
Stout.
breaking that thing.
I've
you know?
delivered thousands of cases for you, and this is the love you give me.
Broke my special Star Wars mug I had coming from.
How about it?
Now you get
It's a cousin beer. I think.
cousin beer. Okay, all right.
cousin you don't want to see.
I was about to say the cousin you don't want to see.
A little more
Exactly.
respectful than
Yeah. This is special just for you.
me. I thought of you
Yeah,
when
I
I
picked-
drank
right.
I picked this beer
I
out
set
just for
this
you,
aside
buddy.
just for you. That's exactly right.
This has got cousin Eddie all over it.
complicated and overly confusing.
I think of all the people in the world that have that crazy thing going on with their eye, just like you.
Yeah.
I decided that you're really special. You
This
know?
beer's like you; it doesn't know what it wants to be either.
that was a good one, Dave. That was a good one. There it is.
Right,
That's
yeah.
the winner.
There you go. Yeah. Look, I know you can't get AMC on your cable channel, but this beer is just for you. Okay. You know.
We all can't be video game designers, guys.
That's right. I was about to say everybody has to have a goal, and then there's this. So, you know. Well, our Suds rating for Nikolai Vorlauf is going to be a 2. All right, next up is the last beer that we have in this pastry shop flight.
Boy.
Yep, I know. You're so thrilled. You're excited. You've been waiting for this crescendo moment. Hang on to your hats here.
It's got to get good at the end, right?
Well, you can see the bottom of this cup, although you can't see the bottom of this whole experience. Yep, that's right. You've waited this whole time for the strawberry shortcake. This is a wheat wine beer. Here's a quick description from Funky Butta. Hey, pal, this ain't just some sweet thing. This fierce frosted goodness is none other than strawberry shortcake, a righteous wheat wine brewed with just enough whole strawberries and fragrant vanilla beans to temper its ferocious nature. So, beer bros, take heed. It's time to hail to the queen, baby. The ABV on this is 9%. I know. I can't even believe that
this
I
was
read that.
9%.
That might be the worst beer
The worst beer
description I've
description.
ever heard.
Yeah.
Hail to the queen.
Yeah.
Baby.
9%.
Yeah, so you got to think about who you'd give this to. I want you to think about it. So, but yeah, so what are your tasting notes here on strawberry shortcake?
Twizzler.
Yeah,
It smells like it, and it tastes like it.
let's see here.
Good old boy Dave is 100% correct.
That is like the artificial kind
That's very true.
Plasticky-
The aroma is spot on for a strawberry Twizzler. I would agree with that. It does have some of that tart, sugary kind of thing going on. There is some strawberry there that's going on, but it is like really in the background.
And if you told me this was anything but beer, I would believe you. That's the weird thing. This
I
is
agree.
9% wheat wine. And it's like if you told me this was
You need
just,
to give this to that idiot niece that just won't shut up and ask why every
If this
15
came
seconds.
from,
Why?
if this was
Why?
like a Funky Butta collaboration with Boone's Farm, I would not.
Right.
So
I
right.
wouldn't blink an eye. If you told
if
me
it
that,
came with a screw, if a screw cap was on it, I'd agree.
This
yes.
could be a donut or something. you know?
It's
I
a
mean,
really just interesting beer. It's like if
Now look
you
who's being
ask me,
respectful.
like Kendall's code word. Interesting.
if you would ask me which styles work for a strawberry beer, wheat wine would probably be very low on my
I
list.
couldn't even
And now
begin
you know
to put
why.
it in that category. Yeah.
And yeah, it's
This
just
is an
a
insult
lot
to
of-
every strawberry beer ever made.
It's just a lot of really interesting flavors here, and I'm not sure they work together.
Sometimes wheat wine could use all the help it could get. You know
That's
what I mean?
a- that's
This is
kind of
not
a-
helping wheat
not
wine.
a lot of
any.
people make wheat wine anyways.
Well, that's what I'm making next week. So, you know, we'll see. Thanks. I appreciate it. So, yeah. Good luck, Mike.
Don't put a lot of strawberry and vanilla in
Yeah.
it.
I don't think I'm going to have any strawberry involved with this. So,
I think maybe it's the vanilla that throws it off.
It's a lot of vanilla.
I think
man.
that vanilla is clashing with the caramel malt you got going on in there.
Yeah.
I thought there was some lactose that was laden in this, and I thought that was actually just fighting with the wheat wine itself. But I don't think that I've ever written down the word lame wheat wine beer ever, and that is almost my, whole
It's
description.
another Sip, Suds, and Smokes first.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's for sure.
Possibly one of the most confusing beers I've ever drank.
I'm confused and angry.
I'm not angry,
Definitely
just confused.
Which one of these things is not like the others in this flight? That's for sure. Yeah. So yeah, I would totally give this to a niece that just can't shut up. Who would you give it to?
Nobody.
Nobody. You can't think of anybody you.
But you know what?
Love
What
that
kind of
much.
bothers me is that I've had several other Funky Buddha beers that are really great.
Yeah.
There are some really good ones.
Yep.
So
I agree. Don't let this scare you off.
send us those.
Yeah, that's true. Well, did we?
Yep. Well, that's it for this particular beer. Our Suds rating. Oh, what?
Did we rate this one?
I am. I'm going to do it right now.
Oh, there we go.
Our Suds rating out. I'm going to get to it if you just
Sorry.
Shut up.
Here, have this beer, Caperton.
Yeah. Have
Our
a
Suds rating-
strawberry beer.
Our Suds rating for strawberry shortcake is going to be a 2. Well, there you have it. You made another trip to the pastry shop and survived this entire flight. We hope you enjoyed this episode and this trip through Candy Cane Forest. And you can catch all of our episodes online as well on SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, YouTube, iHeart, Google Play, PRX, and Spreaker, our native media host. You can catch us easily online by just yakking into your phone and saying, play Sip, Suds, and Smokes podcasts. iTunes and the Google Play Store are also good places.
We love your feedback, and you can reach us online at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com.
And our daily tasting notes flow out on Twitter and Instagram every day at Sip Suds Smoke. And our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news.
Please take the time to rate this episode if you're listening online. 5 is our favorite number.
5.
I want to thank good old boy Kendall for joining us. Kendall, I know you have a really great blog. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Yeah, my wife and I blog about the good news of good beer at beermakes3.com.
Thanks for being here, good old boy Dave.
Hey, check out my 60-second beer reviews on Instagram at Good Old Boy Dave.
And thank you, good old boy Caperton.
And check me out at local tap rooms here.
So you're saying a pitcher of strawberry shortcake just for you?
Ooh.
Put it in a funnel.
He'll be your best friend.
Well, this is good old boy Mike thanking you for joining us for this Sips, Suds, and Smokes episode. Come back, join us once again, and I'll ask you to keep on sipping.
This has been a One Tan Hand production of Sips, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see you all next time.